All right, hi, my name is Sarah. I was just wondering if I could take a few minutes of your time to ask you some questions.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
Okay, it's gonna be about 10 minutes long, so do you have 10 minutes?
Yeah, I can do that for you.
All right, thank you. So first off, what's your name?
My name is Jared.
And how has your day been so far?
Today's been pretty well. I went to my early classes, and then I came and started my 9-hour shift at work. So it hasn't been bad so far.
And so what's your major?
Right now, I'm a business major with a minor in sports management, and I also have a minor in real estate too.
So did you get into UF as a freshman? Because you go to UF currently, right?
Yeah, I'm a student currently at UF. I'm a junior.
Okay, and so did you transfer in, or did you maybe go to like Santa Fe or a different community college, maybe somewhere else?
So yeah, back home I went to community college for 2 years. I had a job down there at the College of Central Florida. And then for my last few credits, I transferred up last summer and finished off at Santa Fe. My credits to transfer into the business school here at UF.
So when are you supposed to graduate? Like if you were to graduate on, like, what's your plan so far?
So if I stay on track, as long as everything checks out, I should be graduating in May of 2018, right on track.
So how did you like community college? Like, how were like the classes, and like what kind of classes did you have to take?
So compared to UF, the community college classes were a lot smaller, a lot more one-on-one attention from the teachers. In community college, there's almost no TAs unless the class is large, like 50 or more students. So if you ever have any questions or any problems with your homework or any assignments that they've given you, you just go directly to them, and which is totally different from UF because at least in the classes that I've taken in the business school, there's always at least 100 or more students, sometimes in the thousands of kids, and there's not as much one-on-one attention that you can get from the professor.
So what do you think your hardest class, like in community college, was that you took?
Definitely my Bio 2 class was the toughest. Either that or the Chem 2 class. Both were equally pretty difficult.
So did you look in any tutoring when you were in community college for that class, or no?
So and when I was in community college, they didn't have a lot of resources. Most of the time, they would have like specific labs, so like a math lab or science lab, which would have students that either worked for the university or the college or volunteer for the college, and would just tutor you for up to an hour. But it was student to student reviews, and it was only students who had just recently taken the course. There wasn't a lot of value placed on the tutors. They were just pretty much just former students.
So if they got like an A in the class, they were like eligible to.
I don't even think that there was like a criteria for them being tutors. They just had to pass the class and to be able to kind of explain the concepts to students. But it was not very interactive. You could only spend a maximum of an hour with the tutor a day, so it wasn't really the best system.
So did you ever go to like your professor for help, or like you didn't see that helpful at all, or?
So yeah, most of the time in community college, that was pretty much the only way to really get help is by going to the actual professor, because they were the ones that pretty much knew the material, and they would be able to explain it the best to you.
Okay, so as far as UF, what do you think has been the most challenging course that you've taken so far?
I definitely think the most challenging course that I've taken has to be business finance with Dr. Banco. It was one of the most rigorous courses. It's set up pretty tough already, and it's just not. It wasn't an easy course to get through.
So did you feel like you were the only one that was struggling in that class, or was there like a lot of your friends or other students were struggling as well?
Yeah, I don't have very many friends, but there were other students in the class that I could like visibly tell were struggling. I'm not a very outgoing person, so I didn't like introduce myself to them. But I could see like in their eyes that they were struggling.
So did you ever look into tutoring for like that class, like any of the like Study Edge, Smoking Notes, or like Tutoring Zone, or I think it's called Schoolers now?
Yeah, actually, I had to seek outside help because I just couldn't do it on my own. And I went to Study Edge for a little bit, and I don't know. They helped a little bit, but I don't know. It wasn't really what I expected.
And do you remember how much you like paid for Study Edge? Was it like, did you think of like, you like see, oh, that's expensive?
Yeah,
or?
it was actually pretty expensive. I actually have a job, but it was so expensive that I couldn't pay for it by myself. I actually had to ask some of my parents to give me money for it because it was pretty expensive.
Can you explain a little bit like how Study Edge works, or like your experience with it?
Yeah, so my experience with Study Edge, my first experience with Study Edge were meeting in study hours at, I believe it was Marsden, the Marsden Library in the basement. I believe I met with a guy named Chris and a couple other guys on his team. He seemed to be like the head business finance tutor, and then he had some other former students on his team. I believe they had to have made at least A or B in the class to be on the tutoring team, but
So they were still students. Like Chris isn't a student. That's what he does is tutor. Okay.
Yeah, Chris, I don't think was a student. He was a full-time tutor, but he did have like a staff of tutors with him. So I went to those study hours, which was pretty cool because you were able to kind of get in small groups and figure out problems and kind of work through different solutions. Dr. Benko always suggested for us to at least spend 2 hours a day on practice problems. So it was a good way to actually be disciplined to spend those 2 hours because you could do it with a tutor and to make sure you were doing it right. But they held them, I think, once a week.
So would you pay like one sum for like once a week session, or did you pay like on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so I had a monthly subscription that basically included all of those study sessions that I was talking about, as well as live review sessions with Chris.
And they were were they held at the Study Edge building, in Midtown, kind of?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Midtown, where is the Study Edge building. That's where I had the review, and then he also in the package it included practice problem and old exam review videos, like how to solve, but those costed tokens, so you only had a limited amount of them before you had to buy more.
Oh, so if you didn't go, you had to watch them at home, and it cost tokens?
Yeah, they recorded the exam reviews in the Study Edge building, and they posted them online, and if you didn't go to the exam review, you had to pay out of your tokens, and you had a limited amount of those per month.
So you could obviously pay more.
Yeah, but it was.
So with you working, was it hard to actually make it to the?
Yeah, because I have a fixed schedule, so fitting things in is not always relatively easy.
And they did the same time every week?
No, it was different. It was different. I want to say it was usually between either Tuesday and Thursday nights, but it would differ just depending on when the exam was, when they'd hold the review.
So have you looked into them for any other classes, or is it just like the business finance?
Yeah, so far I've just used business finance with Study Edge. I have used Smoking Notes for other classes, but which is a different tutoring.
Did you think that was helpful, or?
Yeah, I think the Smoking Notes is good. It's definitely geared toward the independent studier. There's not really any interaction with the company as far as tutoring.
So where do you have to go to buy it? Do they have a place like Study Edge or Tutoring Zone?
Yeah.
Or?
So you can buy the Smoking Notes at Study Edge, or I believe there's a Target copy you can purchase them at, which is on University as you're kind of headed away from campus. So there's a couple locations that they have their notes at.
And so do you remember how much that costs? So can you pay one sum and get all the how does it work?
Yeah, I believe I just paid each time that I would need them. I didn't ever subscribe to their service, and it was about $20 every time. There was usually 3 midterms, so about $60 a semester was what it.
And so what would come with it?
Well, the Smoking Notes would just basically contain a packet full of all the important material and any type of vocab words, any type of charts or graphs that were important, and then it would come with a set of flashcards with important vocabulary terms on them.
Gotcha. So you definitely felt the need for a tutor more at UF than at your community college?
Yeah, definitely. The level of rigor in the classes are definitely higher at UF than it is at Santa Fe.
Right. So how much do you think you would be willing to pay for a tutor? If you had an ideal price, obviously sometimes the classes are so hard you feel like you have no choice, and then you pay hundreds or whatever it might cost for it. So what would you think would be a fair price?
Yeah. It just kind of would depend on the tutor's level of expertise and just kind of how qualified they were, because I feel that certain people are really good at teaching material and getting others to learn the concept, whereas other tutors or other people aren't as good at getting people on board with it. So depending on the tutor, I would expect to pay anywhere from maybe $10 to $20 an hour for them, just depending on how well they taught the material and how well it sat in with me.
And so would you prefer to do tutoring one-on-one in the library somewhere, or would you prefer to do it when you're at home over the computer? In your opinion, what do you think would be better?
For me, it'd be more convenient to do at home, especially starting off. If there was some sort of concept that I needed further explanation on, to meet in person and just really to visualize it. But I think the technology's in place that we could do something over the over the internet. That way it wouldn't cut off a chunk of my schedule, because transportation to and from campus is not always the easiest and most fathomable idea with someone who has a busy schedule.
So you prefer like doing the work online rather than like by hand, like you'd rather like
Yeah.
type it out and see it that way?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, well, I really appreciate your time. It's been very helpful.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for your interview.
Thank you.